What if I told you that hating unexpected visitors doesn't make you antisocial? It may reveal something profound about your personality. Why do some people feel irritated, anxious, or even emotionally drained by an unexpected knock at the door? The answer goes far deeper than simple introversion. It may uncover hidden truths about your boundaries, your inner world, and the way your soul protects itself from the demands of the outside world. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover might change how you see yourself forever. Have you ever noticed how some people become deeply uncomfortable when someone arrives at their door without warning? To others, it may seem strange, even rude. After all, visitors are often associated with friendship, connection, and community. Yet for certain individuals, an unexpected knock at the door feels less like a pleasant surprise, and more like an intrusion into something sacred. This reaction is rarely about disliking people. It often reflects something much deeper, a relationship with the inner world. The home is not merely a physical structure. It is a psychological space, a sanctuary where a person reconnects with themselves, processes emotions, and restores balance after facing the demands of everyday life. The stronger a person's connection to their inner world, the more protective they may become of that private space. What appears to others as antisocial behavior may actually be a profound need for psychological security, emotional authenticity, and personal boundaries. Tonight, we will explore why some people hate unexpected visitors, what this reveals about their personality, and how the need for solitude often points toward a rich and complex inner life. For some individuals, home is far more than a place where daily routines take place. It is not simply a structure made of walls, furniture, and familiar objects. It represents a deeply personal psychological space where the pressures of the outside world finally loosen their grip. Throughout the day, people are expected to fulfill countless roles. They must be productive employees, responsible parents, supportive friends, agreeable neighbors, or attentive partners. Each role demands a certain behavior, a certain attitude, and sometimes even a certain mask. Over time, carrying these expectations can become exhausting, even if the person appears calm and capable on the surface. When such individuals return home, they enter the one environment where those expectations temporarily disappear. They can stop performing. They can stop explaining themselves. They can simply exist without feeling observed or evaluated. This experience creates a powerful sense of relief that many people rarely recognize. Home becomes a place where the mind can finally settle and recover from the constant stimulation of social life. This is why an unexpected visitor can create discomfort that seems difficult to explain. The reaction is often misunderstood because it appears to be directed toward the visitor. In reality, the emotional response has little to do with who is knocking at the door. It has more to do with what the interruption represents. The arrival of another person suddenly transforms a private sanctuary into a social environment. The moment the door opens, the individual may feel compelled to re-enter a role they had temporarily set aside. Without warning, they must shift their attention outward again. They may need to make conversation, manage impressions, appear welcoming, and engage with another person's needs and expectations. Even if the visit is brief and friendly, it can feel like a sudden demand placed upon a space that was meant for rest and psychological renewal. For people with rich inner lives, this experience can be particularly intense. They often use their time alone to reflect on emotions, process experiences, and reconnect with thoughts that are difficult to access amidst the noise of daily life. Silence is not empty for them. Solitude is not a void waiting to be filled. Instead, it is a valuable state in which the deeper parts of the personality can emerge and be heard. Imagine someone sitting quietly after a long day, finally beginning to understand a feeling that has troubled them for weeks. They may be sorting through memories, contemplating a difficult decision, or simply enjoying a rare moment of peace. Then comes an unexpected knock at the door. Instantly, their attention is pulled away from that inner process. The transition can feel abrupt and unsettling, because it breaks a state of psychological immersion that was providing comfort and clarity. Many people assume that those who dislike unexpected visitors are antisocial. Yet this interpretation often misses the deeper reality. Such individuals may enjoy meaningful conversations, close friendships, and genuine human connection. What they struggle with is not connection itself, but interruption. They value the ability to choose when and how they engage with the outside world. Their home serves as a boundary between the demands of society and the needs of the soul. When that boundary is crossed without warning, it can feel as though a sacred space has been disturbed, even when the visitor arrives with the best intentions. Most people move through life, wearing different versions of themselves depending on where they are and who they are with. At work, they may appear confident and capable. Around friends, they may become humorous and outgoing. Within the family, they may adopt the role of caretaker, peacemaker, or problem solver. These changes are so common that they often happen unconsciously. Yet every role requires energy. Every interaction asks us to manage our behavior, control our emotions, and respond to the expectations of others. For some individuals, this constant adaptation is far more exhausting than it appears from the outside. They are highly aware of social dynamics and sensitive to the emotional atmosphere around them. During conversations, they notice subtle changes in tone, facial expressions, and body language. They carefully consider their words before speaking, and often think about how their actions affect those around them. While this awareness can make them thoughtful and compassionate, it also demands a significant amount of mental energy. After spending hours navigating social situations, these individuals often look forward to returning home, because it allows them to stop monitoring themselves so closely. The home becomes a place where they no longer need to manage impressions or maintain a particular image. They can let their guard down. They can sit in silence, wear whatever they want, think whatever they want, and simply exist without the pressure of being observed. An unexpected visitor disrupts this transition. The moment someone arrives at the door without warning, the individual is suddenly required to switch back into social mode. The private self that had begun to relax must quickly step aside, making room once again for the social self. This shift may seem minor to some people, but for those who invest a great deal of energy into social interactions, it can feel surprisingly demanding. The challenge is not necessarily the conversation itself. Often, it is the speed at which the change must occur. There is no time to prepare mentally, no opportunity to gather emotional energy. One moment they are immersed in their own thoughts, and the next they are expected to engage, respond, and participate in another person's world. This abrupt transition can create feelings of tension, irritation, or fatigue that seem difficult to explain. Many people mistakenly interpret this reaction as shyness or hostility. In reality, it often reflects emotional exhaustion. The person may genuinely like the visitor and enjoy their company under different circumstances. However, because the interaction was unexpected, it arrives at a moment when their psychological resources are being directed inward rather than outward. There is also a deeper aspect to this experience. The social masks people wear are not necessarily fake. They are simply different parts of the personality that emerge in different situations. Yet maintaining these masks requires effort. Over time, some individuals become acutely aware of how much energy is spent adjusting themselves to fit the expectations of others. Their private moments become precious because they offer a temporary release from that effort. When an unexpected visitor appears, it can feel as though the rest period has ended before the mind has fully recovered. The individual is asked once again to participate in the social world, to perform roles they have been carrying all day. What others see as a simple visit may therefore be experienced as the sudden return of responsibilities that had only just been set down. One of the greatest misunderstandings in modern life is the belief that solitude and loneliness are the same thing. People often assume that anyone who prefers spending time alone must be unhappy, disconnected, or lacking meaningful relationships. Yet solitude and loneliness are fundamentally different experiences. Loneliness is the pain of feeling disconnected from others. Solitude, on the other hand, is the enjoyment of being connected with oneself. For many people who dislike unexpected visitors, this distinction is at the heart of their behavior. These individuals do not necessarily avoid people because they dislike human connection. In fact, many of them value deep conversations, loyal friendships, and genuine emotional bonds far more than casual social interactions. What they seek is quality rather than quantity. They are often less interested in constant activity and more interested in meaningful experiences that nourish the mind and spirit. When left alone, they do not immediately feel bored or restless. Their attention naturally turns inward. They reflect on their experiences, examine their emotions, explore ideas, and engage with parts of themselves that are difficult to access when surrounded by noise and distraction. The outer world becomes quieter, allowing the inner world to become more visible. For such people, solitude serves an important psychological function. It provides an opportunity to understand themselves more deeply. Thoughts that remain hidden during busy days begin to surface. Feelings that were pushed aside demand attention. Questions that have been lingering beneath consciousness gradually become clearer. In these moments, being alone is not an absence of activity. It is a different kind of activity, one that takes place beneath the surface. Many creative, thoughtful, and introspective individuals rely on solitude in this way. Some discover new ideas during quiet moments. Others process difficult emotions or gain insight into personal challenges. Some simply experience a profound sense of peace that cannot be found elsewhere. Their inner world becomes a source of companionship, meaning, and renewal. This is why unexpected visitors can feel disruptive. The interruption is not merely social. It pulls the person's attention away from an ongoing internal process. Imagine becoming deeply absorbed in a book, a dream, or a meaningful conversation, only to have it abruptly cut short. The feeling is not necessarily anger. It is a sense of being removed from something valuable before it has reached its natural conclusion. People who do not understand this often encourage such individuals to be more social, believing that more interaction will improve their well-being. Yet constant social engagement can sometimes have the opposite effect. Without sufficient time alone, they may begin to feel mentally crowded, emotionally overwhelmed, or disconnected from themselves. Their energy becomes scattered among the expectations and demands of the outside world. What appears to others as a preference for isolation is often a desire to preserve an essential relationship, the relationship with one's own mind. They have learned that self-understanding requires space, silence, and reflection. Unexpected visitors, no matter how well-intentioned, can interrupt that delicate process. The discomfort they feel is not caused by a rejection of people, but by a desire to protect a state of inner engagement that they find deeply meaningful and psychologically necessary. Every healthy relationship, whether with others or with oneself, depends on boundaries. Boundaries are often misunderstood as walls that separate people, but in reality they are the invisible lines that allow genuine connection to exist. They define where one person's needs, emotions, and responsibilities end and another's begin. Without boundaries, individuals can feel overwhelmed, controlled, or emotionally exhausted. For people who dislike unexpected visitors, the issue is frequently less about social interaction and more about the protection of these personal boundaries. Many individuals carefully structure their private lives to create a sense of balance and stability. They plan their time, manage their energy, and choose when they are available to engage with others. This ability to make conscious choices gives them a feeling of control over their environment. It allows them to move through life in a way that feels intentional rather than reactive. When someone arrives without warning, that sense of control can suddenly disappear. The visitor may have good intentions, but their arrival introduces an unexpected demand into the person's day. Plans may need to change, mental focus may need to shift, personal space may need to be shared. Even if the visit lasts only a short time, the interruption can feel significant because it was not chosen. The key issue is often not the visitor's presence, but the absence of consent. Human beings generally respond more positively to situations they have prepared for. When people know a guest is coming, they can adjust mentally and emotionally. They can organize their schedule, gather their energy, and decide how they want to engage. Preparation creates a sense of readiness. Unexpected visits remove that preparation. The individual is suddenly placed in a situation they did not choose and may not feel ready for. This can trigger feelings of irritation, anxiety, or resistance that seem disproportionate to the event itself. Yet beneath these emotions lies a deeper concern about personal autonomy. The person may feel that their private world has been entered without invitation, even if no harm was intended. For highly independent individuals, autonomy is especially important. They often value the freedom to determine how their time and attention are used. Their personal space is not merely a physical area. It is an extension of their psychological world. Within that space, they decide when to rest, reflect, work, or connect with others. An unexpected visitor temporarily alters that environment, introducing another person's needs and expectations into a space that was previously under their control. This reaction becomes even stronger when someone has experienced situations in the past where their boundaries were ignored or dismissed. Over time, they may become particularly sensitive to anything that feels intrusive. Even minor interruptions can awaken a deeper desire to protect their independence and maintain ownership of their personal life. From the outside, their response may appear excessive or unfriendly. Yet internally, they are responding to something much more significant than a simple knock at the door. They are protecting a sense of agency, privacy, and self-determination. The discomfort they experience is often rooted in a fundamental psychological need to decide when and how they open their world to others, rather than having that decision made for them unexpectedly. At the deepest level, the discomfort some people feel toward unexpected visitors is often connected to something far more profound than a preference for privacy or a desire for quiet. It relates to their relationship with themselves. Many individuals spend years, sometimes even decades, learning how to understand their own thoughts, emotions, fears, and desires. This process is rarely simple. The inner world is complex, filled with contradictions, unanswered questions, and hidden motivations. Developing a genuine connection with oneself requires patience, reflection, and a willingness to explore parts of the personality that are often overlooked. For those who value this inner journey, time alone is not wasted time. It is an essential part of maintaining psychological balance. Solitude provides a rare opportunity to listen to thoughts that are often drowned out by daily responsibilities and social expectations. In quiet moments, people can examine their experiences, make sense of their emotions, and reconnect with aspects of themselves that become neglected during busy periods of life. Modern society encourages constant engagement with the external world. There is always another message to answer, another task to complete, another conversation to have, or another demand competing for attention. As a result, many people spend so much time responding to the needs of others that they gradually lose touch with their own inner voice. They become experts at managing external responsibilities while remaining strangers to themselves. Some individuals recognize this danger and actively protect against it. They understand that self-awareness does not happen automatically. It requires uninterrupted moments of reflection. It requires silence. It requires space. These periods of withdrawal allow them to maintain a connection with their deeper values, desires, and sense of identity. An unexpected visitor can interrupt this process in a way that feels surprisingly significant. The interruption is not simply physical. It redirects attention away from the inner world and back toward external demands. The person's focus immediately shifts from self-reflection to social interaction. Thoughts that were beginning to take shape may disappear. Emotional insights may be left unfinished. A valuable period of psychological exploration may be abruptly cut short. For people who place great importance on personal growth, this disruption can feel deeply frustrating. They may sense that something meaningful has been interrupted, even if they cannot easily explain what it was. The discomfort comes from losing access, however temporarily, to a state of inner connection that they work hard to cultivate. This does not mean they reject relationships or dislike human contact. In many cases, these individuals care deeply about others. They simply understand that a healthy relationship with the outside world depends upon maintaining a healthy relationship with themselves. If they neglect their inner life for too long, they may begin to feel emotionally depleted, disconnected, or directionless. Unexpected visitors can therefore symbolize something larger than an unplanned social encounter. They represent the sudden arrival of external demands into a space reserved for self-discovery and renewal. What appears to be resistance toward another person is often an attempt to preserve a fragile but essential connection with one's own inner world. In protecting that connection, they are not choosing isolation over people. They are choosing authenticity over distraction, depth over constant activity, and self-understanding over the endless pull of external expectations. Thank you for spending this time with me and exploring this fascinating aspect of human psychology. If today's discussion resonated with you, remember that your need for privacy, solitude, and personal space is not necessarily a weakness or a flaw. Sometimes it is a reflection of a rich inner world that deserves care, respect, and understanding. We often live in a society that celebrates constant social interaction. Yet many people find their greatest clarity and personal growth in moments of quiet reflection. Protecting your inner peace does not mean rejecting others. It means recognizing the importance of maintaining a healthy relationship with yourself. If you found value in this video,